And it was a little bit far too forward to hold her eye for fine that for the lessons for the different methods to keep telling me for the never be taken by the passion, aware of that for the what was dancing in the side of the eternal never either telling us in the for too long for the down to see that. Tomorrow for the day, for the you can feed the messengers, tell us not to forget. Came to the bar, that to the selling, for the find the close of the gate behind you. For the wicked to someone today, for the tomorrow the kind, and never the you can find the things in the round, and after the worth of taking of it too hard. I don't want to be that, the shining of a star, for the dust to be the pillar for the hope. But I'm missing her like crazy. I seen that beautiful lady with agony, and this with the checking from the head to toe. For there's no need to the renting the pole. For this to be the brings it around, the joy around my heart. For the beautiful blessing, you could be the vulnerable, the mercy for the household, for the hope and to the nation, for the anyone who could take that back, for the destiny, for the wonderful gift with the nature, for the glowing and the beautiful, the overwhelming you are. Head to toe, tell me who can be this beautiful. It was something suitable enough for the eyes to be dynamic of the life, for the education. You can find no love, have no limit, for the difficulties of the tongue, for the crying of the widow, for that you can come to let to find a reason for the list of love. I had no rhythm, no hit, no lip, but me to see. And sit down for the under the wings that you can cover me when I relax that for the under the raft for the Mr. Sun. But you never felt that you felt for the up and under the tree, for the day was shady enough for the gathering. The tears together for the tree to tell me for how I wish to take care of you, for the protecting, for the anything, for you can save me the soul love. Show me the same, but it's still the some places on my wings, and the water can pass through for these spaces and get you drenched enough for the wanted to go home now. For the garden or the rest of rain and felt disappointed for the owner, the life, for the care for what I want. But that tree cannot give me all, but I want you taking the journey for the ocean. This would be much more the love for the quench my thirst for this owner the ocean. You could do the same for the searching for what you can find, and I even stop and not for the need for the endure, for the contentment, for the commitment. Wanted to enjoy love and endure for the shortcomings of it when I can find more for the perseverance and all to this world. Give it a time for the struggle in life. You want to be rich, you want me to be great enough, and to be left behind in all this world. For the one for the late you sweat, for the others for the one to be covered in. You can find that because I want to live. Protect that for the forgotten because of the power for the God is in this world. And the predecessors for you are today for the becoming the thing, the history, the deceit, for the not for the long, for the own divine is history, for the Lord, for the world, for the good, the good pocket, for the you can give it out for this, for the came in and no pity, for the world, left behind that untouched, you can tell the word for this. But that's it enough for the star. Here lies in the windowless room. The room that has no windows and the key to the room, no always left behind, for only the button to push you, taken away for this to be the only thing that you can find that for the room to be avoided, for the weather, you can find an ancestor for the something you needed, for the opportunity to be wild. Always left behind for the windowless room, for the only free, for the anything but only meant for you, for the only there for you, reward for the life that you can live here on earth, that you cannot be avoided. I can find that you place yourself in the gigantic house of your God to live life like it's never going to end, and you to be the rich taken away from it. The poor will possess that. When on earth you have that seeds for the opportunity for the everything, you can have the sleeplessness. For the windowless room, for the pillar of hope. It would shine like a star, for the heart may be filled with pain now, for the hope of the soul be comforted. Comforted enough for this to be the pillar I have, and I can have the eyes and the putting the tears in my face, and who can find that for the keeping of the bringing of the joy for the morning will come. I would not mourn no more. I would find that remark to say whose itself produced that for the something beautiful enough for the grave, for the transpire that for the breast of the woman, for the offspring, for the taken out of the mother's lap, and you can have that grass on the other side of the roof. When you translate those hands by the dead young and the woman, for you are oldest people. It's something beautiful enough, and you can find a remark in a disposition out of the hopeful ways. You can answer that child. She said he miss you too, in the remembrance of. That charm and invest in that face and the man caught in your eyes and the personality that makes me you. I always wanted to see her smile and laugh up to the fullest, and you can find that for the life, for the better, for the you can always see her with a smile and a dream, but up next to extent. I'll always want to eat with her and drink with her. I always spoke to her and decide everything with. Cancel everything for an extraordinary for the kind of ask anything else then. It's simply message from the treasure for the smile, for the taking of the breath, for this a hug, for the comfort of the kiss and that makes the fly. And making an appreciation for the horizon and making me to learn life and to strengthen me the faith of God for this a hold to fulfill and hope that for the till the end for the who to spend that the rest of the life with. I hope God will help me reach my dreams with her. It was only a pillar of hope and shining like a star. Yes, when the night refuses to bring the joy in the morning for the keeping the eyes and the pillar for the hope of the day, and I cannot put the tears in my face, and I can keep my eyes upon the heavens for the refuse to come down, for this to be the aid. When the thorns keep me dancing to the dance of the sorrow, for to keep my eyes to the pillar for the bringing hope for tomorrow, with the world start to sing their songs and no hope, and they'll be overwhelmed for the honor, the power of the sorrow, for the hope that to be the soul for the comfortable enough for the pillar that I have to call that pillar for hope. And I lie there for like a shining star, of course, this would be the thank you. Missing you like crazy, and this would be the only the popping up with the shine, for this would be the daughters for where you were born. Where you not to live for this chickens who staying like the barn, for the coppers to the hiding for the challenge. And you can find the shiner anywhere you go, for the cannot do but that you shine for the shiners, and you can see the beauty for the call to star, for the remembrance in the eyes to see, for the you must shine like one. Must be that too for the here. It's a train of a journey for the soul in different figures. In a new morning, in a new episode, for this to be the promise to pay your ransom. No for the lure, for the there, 10 for the mouth, for the foot of the bitter honey, for the there line, and the heart for the physically there sheep. Getting to the 10 for the turning to the carnivore, for you can find that once for the model, the same as dust. And not for the only wine, the tongue, for this a turn for the blood, the stinking, the sword, enough for the turn to. Chicken your finger for the check, just to the favor for the heavenly Father. This is for the living, for the sorrow, for your good fortune. This is for the wood, you can find a soul for the different figures in the knock of the cocoa or phantom, for the color, for the taste and the name, for the company, and just to believe you produce that for the joint, for the heavenly Father, for the wine, but the soul, for the difference in the figure, for the prepare yourself for the different. You can ask how, fellow man, for you can find that for the will, or here on earth, and this would be the physique. And not to be facetious, and this would be the lying upon the hope. All is this shore of your love, to be strong in your faith for the beauty lady I saw you one time, for the watching of water paddock, for the place of the pleasure, for the trip to the treasure. Yours for the sim, for the looking for the water girl, for the couldn't help myself but to look back and I could find that pleasure for the treasure, for the you can find that in the nature. Seeing that for the life, for the pleasure, but enough for to have my love for the night, for the giving you all that, for the mind staying shore of your love, for the till the end of the world, and I can find the horizon. And it required enough for the sentimental, for the appreciation of a little, for the stronger your faith, for the this of the little blissful morning I seen. Goodbye to that mentor, for the beautiful morning, for the looking funny enough, for the praising of one Lord. You kept that till this time, for the laugh, for the service of the cost, and no dime, for the how the angels did their work for this, are ready to come, for the making of the what you can find, the tracking of the abundantly, the less, the best, this who can walk elegantly enough for the queens to bow your crest. I can manifest, I can find that hope somewhere. I can find the difficulties of the tongue, and you can come let for the reason, for the move away, for the path, for this to be the night, for the ready to face of the shadows in the life, for the thinking, for the second, for the coming, the night, for the apple, the fine and furnace, and this to become the favorite fruit. Now for the preparedness is stubborn, for the life is stubborn enough, for this the face of the world, for the rule over it, for the making of the world, for the speaking of which and half a good one, I guess. If I think for a second, before it becomes my favorite one, I guess I would be in a windowless room, strong in the faith. In the agony of this, what I could find for the where the difficulties in the journey, for the many things I could face, these to be the face for the holding, for the there, for the terror, for the there, for the horror, for the dismay, for the look, for the comfort, for the hide, the Christ who hook and yoke by your faith, and this to be the servant for you could find the terror, for the night overcoming you, but never leave it, never will wax or cold, for the distant fight, for the long, for the stronghold. And me, my beloved self, and my mirror, my brethren, for the stronging of the faith, and you can have the many difficulties, and you can find that sweet like a honey, and I can hide and find the things that face of this to be the toe, for the grace of this, the world against the word, for the facing, holding their sword. I can hold it for the good Lord. In the name of Christ and Yahweh. I find what's the blissful morning for the body to the mentor, for the crying of the window, for the dynamic of life, and the dream of peace. Unwilling, you awake to see the next dawn for the unwillingness steps she takes in the shuddering to the mirror. Old, gray, and dirty like she was in her last night. For this the morning that she is not 30 anymore. For the shining is like a morning star. For the twilight shining and hunted by the calendar. For the is the only penny. Draw the mirror towards you, time who makes their years the world. Adorn the that's that adorn you. For the time is timeless and for you. Calendars for the human and what's a year. For the 30 to the loveliness of the made woman. Night would not see the 30 again. For this to pick up at the wing. For the pick up the glass and tell me why how old is the spring. How cold is that sun? Well, the sun will cold for the owner to celebrate, for the children's party, for the beat of common code, with everything that tells me, everything I can find that for the banking of truth, and find it difficult to be enthused over the current news, and you just when to think that the outlook is so black enough that you can find it grow blacker enough that it worsens. And this is why I don't like the news, because there has never been enough errors, there never many things that are going right with so many wrong persons. You could find it, and you can find an adventure, you can find a biological for the reflection, and this is under the banker, you can find an island. The girl whose cheeks are covered with the pain for the hazard advantage with me over with her whose ain't. This is more than a poem. Not to bury that girl named April for the sudden anger, for the ever-changing and ever-true, for that I love her, and this is I love you, and her name is an anonymous, and in the tale for this to be the crossing of the border for the first child, the second. Goodbye the eye for the pardon, for the side for you to go to. And I'll find that tale for the foreigners and the people somewhere else in the naive, enough for the habitat for the foreigner to save for the scale. And lead is not for the who's at home. Who does not mean for the changing of a scene? Who does that have that for the sky? For you can find that for the moment, for the native, for the bee, for the next to be him divine, and that for the central, for the differential. Or that for the pride, for the prideful man. Whoever he is and he regard as is, and is native, and there is an as an alien. And you'll be friends with that foreigner for the tell the native. You but the proposition to die for the not even enough to be ignorant enough for the foreigner for the counterwise, and this would be the deers of the corner. Between us and all for the rapport, for the you could be exquisite enough for the eliminating that for the naive habitat. You have that just for the recognition, for the habitual. For you can't tell me everything. It's good enough for my pardon to display further reflections in your melodies. I can find that symptom here. You have that common code. You have fleas like Adam did. You're in the tail for the caution to everybody, and I can be fly as you. Well, who leave that mother for the golden grain that's fed you? And I for the wild fours, and I am going for the where you are blowing yourself for the bridal songs, and you keep that for the fairy folk, and your call on me for the this would be the honey child, for the world is full of pressure, for you could be the rope of the loom, and I could be the glowing in the night for the night to the laughter, for the owner of the sun to the day, for the wind to the death tomorrow, for the sweeter sound for the forest notes, and you can find the streamer falling. I can't say whether or not you're calling. Unwilling, you awake to see the next. And it was a little bit far too forward to hold her eye for find that for the lessons for the different methods to keep telling me for the never be taken by the passion, aware of that for the what was dancing in the side of the eternal land, either telling us in the night for too long for the down to see that tomorrow for the day for the you can feed the messenger tell us not to forget came to the buy that to the selling but you can find the close of the gate behind you for the wicked to someone today for the tomorrow the kind enough for the you can find the things in the round and not for the worth of taking of it too hard. I don't want to be that the shining of a star for the dust to be the pillar for the hope, but I'm missing her like crazy. I I seen that beautiful lady with agony, and this with the checking from the head to toe. For there's no need to the raining to pole. For this to be brings it around the joy around my heart. For the beautiful blessing, you could be the vulnerable parent of mercy for the household, for the hope and to the nation, for the anyone who could take that back for the destiny, for the wonderful gift with the nature, for the glowing and the beautiful, the overwhelming you are. Head to toe, tell me who can be this beautiful. It was something suitable enough for the eyes to be dynamic of the life, for the education. You can find no love, have no limit, for the difficulties of the tongue, for the crying of the widow, for that you can come to left to find a reason, for the list of love. I had no rhythm, no hit, no limp, but me to seat and sit down for the under the wings that you can cover me when I relax that for the under the raft for the Mr. Sun. But you never felt that you felt for the up under the tree, for the day was shady enough for the gathering, the tears together for the tree to tell me for the how I wish to take care of you, for the protecting, for the anything, for you could save me the soul love. Show me the same, but it's still the sun's places on my wings, and the water can pass through for these spaces and get you drenched enough for the wanted to go home now. For the garden of the rest of rain that felt disappointed, for the owner of the life, for the care for what I want. But that tree cannot give me all, but I want to take in the journey for the ocean. This would be much more the love, for the quench my thirst, for this only the ocean you could do the same, for the searching for the what you could find, and not even stop and not for the need, for the indoor, for the contentment, for the commitment, only to enjoy and love and endure for the shortcomings of it when I can find more for the perseverance and all to this world. Give it a time for the struggle in life, and you want to be rich, and you can want it to be great enough, and to be left behind in all this world. For the wind, for the lake, you sweat for the others, for the wanted to be covered, and you can find that because they want to live and protect that for the forgotten, because of the power for the orders in this world. And the predecessors of who you are today, for the becoming the thing of the history, the deceit, for the not for the long, for the only divine is history, for the Lord of the world, for the goods to the good pocket, for the, you can give it out for this to be the came in and no penny for the whether you're left behind and untouched, and you can tell the work for this. Blessed enough for the star. Here lies in the windowless room. The room that has no windows, to the key to the room, no always left behind, for only the button to push you're taken away. For this to be the only thing that you can find out for the room to be avoided, for the weather you can find an ancestor, for the something meaning, for the opportunity for the be wild, always left behind, for the windowless room, for the only free, for the anything but only meant for you, for the only there, for the reward, for the life that you can live on here on earth, and you cannot be avoided. I can find that you place yourself in the gigantic house of your gods, and who will live life like it's never going to end, and you're to bring the rich taken away from it. The poor will possess that. When on earth you have that seeds for the opportunity for the everything, you can have the sleeplessness, for the windowless room, for the pillar of hope. It would shine like a star, for the heart may be filled with pain now, for the hope of the soul be comforted. Comforted enough for this to be the pillar I have, and I can have the eyes and move to putting the tears in my face, and who can find that for the keeping of the bringing of the joy for the morning will come. I would add more, no more. I will find that remark to say whose itself produced that for the something beautiful enough for the grave, for the transpire that for the breast of the woman, for the offspring, for the taken out of the mother's lap, and you can have that grass on the other side of the roof. And you translate those hands by the dead young and the woman, for you are oldest people. There's something beautiful enough, and you can find a remark in a disposition out of the hopeful ways. You can answer that child. She said he'll miss you too, in the remembrance of.